All right, recording got started. Warm welcome to all of you, my dear students. Today is our day one class on Azure Data Engineer. Just 1 minute, I'm just keeping it on silent, or rather keep on ringing. So today is our day one live class on Azure Data Engineer and Analytical Training Program. So the last session, what we had is just an overview webinar session that we had, and right. Okay, I can see most of the participants join. Let's start the class. Okay, so before we start the class, it is important to have some kind of agreements. Why do we need to have these agreements in place? This is not a small training program where we are thinking about a two-day, for example, if you are doing a CSM or PSM outside trainings, it's more of a two-day training program. Saturday, Sunday, you will be having class, then bye-bye, and then we will leave. But this training program is designed for 8 weeks, which means that for next 2 months, we are all going to talk to each other, collaborate each other, support each other, and do the learning and upskill. That's the main. And all of us will be empowered to the high demand, the Azure data engineering skills and cloud skills. And that is the reason it is important to have some kind of agreements. If we don't have agreement, so people will behave as whatever they like. Some people will turn on the camera, some people will unmute, they will just simply ask questions from different areas. So, but if we have some kind of formal agreements, I'm not asking any digital signatures, but we are matured as well. Let us just quickly go through what kind of rules that we need to follow from today. So I know that we are starting like 6 or 7 minutes late, but from tomorrow, maximum of 2 to 3 more minutes. Vamshi is not going to wait for everyone to join the class. So apparently, it is your responsibility to set your alarm and join the class on time. I sent few reminders today, and tomorrow maybe one reminder, but I can't send the reminders every day. It is your responsibility to ensure that you have the internet connection and join the class on time. And keep your microphone muted because each and every live class is being recorded and a lot of people will replay the recording. So it is important to mute so that the recording quality is really good. Otherwise, a lot of background noise and everything. And also turn off the video as well. The recordings are there. Of course, we are not going to post the recordings on the social media, but still, like if you turn on, you will be recorded. And the later point of time, you say that, oh, Lakshmi, my face got recorded. I want to be removed. It will be again a headache for us, a rework for us. And once you turn on the camera, it's going to be a lot of distractions. Everybody will shift their attention from the class to your background. How do you look? How your background? What you're doing? We are not here for that. Okay, please ensure that you turn off your camera and use the Zoom link chat window. There is a chat window, and you can make use of the chat window to post your questions. You can post your questions. Yeah. And if you have any detailed explanation, like beyond posting, like, you want to maybe talk to a little bit of a scenario, it needs a bit of explanation. Maybe towards the end, you can unmute and then say, hey, this is the scenario in my project. So how can we deal with it? Yeah. And this is very, very important. Ask questions related to the current topic only. We have students from non-IT background. We have students from IT background, from .NET and other. And we also have some students who are already working as a data engineer. So if I'm a data engineer and the day one, Vamshi is talking about the Azure basics. And if I say, hey, you know what, Vamshi, in my project, we have a configuration issue in the Databricks. Can you tell me how can we resolve it? Vamshi is not going to answer. And asking advanced questions in the earlier classes is not encouraged from the day one itself. But with respect to the today's class, you have any questions, ask as many as you have, no problem at all. Each and every live class recording will be stopped only after finishing answering all your questions. In this process, we may take extra 10 to 15 minutes, but that's completely okay because we don't want to abruptly close hardly just after 1 hour without answering your questions. Yeah. However, if you have any important commitment, you are most welcome to leave after 1 hour, 15 minutes and come back and watch replay the recording for that delta of 10, 15 minutes. All sessions will be recorded. And where can you find the recording? Okay, I will show you where can you find the recording. And I also encourage you to complete the hands-on assignment on time. That's how you're going to gain the confidence hold on the subject. Unless we do, we can't remember. Trust me. If you think that, oh, I can join the class every day and I can relax the rest of the day, you are not really truly learning. Maybe you are understanding the subject, but learning and empowering comes with practice. The more number of times you do, the better you become. Yeah, any skill, especially when you're transitioning, this is very, very important. And do not hesitate to call me for any kind of questions. No matter on the weekend, no festivals for me, just my students are my world. That's all. 7 days a week, Melbourne time, 7 o'clock in the morning to 11 o'clock in the evening. Just give me a call. No exception. Okay. And yeah, any doubts you can ask in the WhatsApp group. With respect to the recording, and I sent you this email, and the classes are is going to be the same time for the entire 8 weeks of learning. And this is the Zoom link that your guys are going to join. And here there is another one, a link that I mentioned, access the drive folder where you're going to find the assignments, recordings. If you click here, you will be so this is the day zero. That's a demo class that happened. And double click, you will see maybe respective materials and just the webinars that we had. But from today, Vamshi is going to create a folder. He is going to upload the material in advance. And after the class, we are going to load the recording. Again, tomorrow, day two, day three, day four. Like this, we progress. And if you see, maybe let me quickly show you our previous batch from November 2025, not cyber. Yeah. So you see here, Azure and then SQL commands. He may create assignments, so SQL assignments, some other extra learnings, and the interview questions. Slowly, as we progress, he's going to create a folder on a daily basis, day 6, day 7, day 8, and like that, we go for 40 days. Yeah, 8 weeks of training. And we are going to have a break after 5 days, a break for 2 days, and so that you can refresh and practice again 5 days. So like that, we proceed. Okay, team. Hope I am clear. So let us adhere to the learning agreements. And I want the full discipline in the class. And I also mentioned in the WhatsApp group also, just a second, February 26, Feb 26. Right. I hope all of you are in the group. If you are not there, you just alert me, I will add it. This is the policy, zero tolerance policy. Yeah. My trainings are on the large scale, on the global standards, which means that I get students from India, I get students from Cameroon, Kenya, Nigeria, from Africa, the Africa continent, and we have students joining from USA and Canada and Australia, which means that all of these people will join from different backgrounds, different cultures, different regions and religions. And if I come to any kind of notice that, okay, some kind of racial comments are happening or any kind of inappropriate behavior or comments, this is not the right environment. And I'm very damn serious about it. And I always tell to my students, and you can check my previous recordings on the social media as well, your money is least priority to me. And if you think that, okay, I am paying the money and I can behave whatever I do, unfortunately, you are not in the right class. Yeah. And respecting others is the top priority, and asking questions, empowering, supporting others. We need to have that growth mindset. We are matured adults yet. So we are here to uh, learn together, support each other, grow together. That's kind of a mindset. Okay, team. So let us follow those practices and pay full attention to the class. Make your own notes. Lavamshi is also going to upload the notes in the class as well. And I'm not going to come on a daily basis and repeat the same thing again and again, which will be waste of all of us our time. And I want all of you to please keep this in mind and follow the rules, please. Thanks a lot. I'm stepping back. Over to you, Vamshi.
Thank you, sir. And hello, everyone. This is day one session, and we'll be discussing about the concepts of data engineering. And I'll also give you a roadmap from here. So, I mean, how we'll be starting ahead here from here. And again, today we'll discuss about Azure Data Engineering Services here. Azure Data Engineering Services. So before this one, we'll also learn what is the role of data lakes in the modern data cloud data engineering architectures. And again, So why we require the concept of what is the concept of ETL and again ELT. So there are a few things we need to be aware of. And so once we get to know this one, right? So then we'll move ahead with some other kind of concepts here. All right. So I hope some of you gone through this kind of documents, right? So these are very important fundamentals here. So let me just go through them once again. Of course, some of you might be, it might be a first class to you or a first session to you. So once again, I'll walk you down through all the concepts here. Then I'll give you a roadmap here, a clear roadmap. So what we'll be doing for the next 8 weeks here, right? Or 2 months. So data engineering. So let us discuss about the concept of data engineering. So today, data engineering is a very key position in analytics teams here across the globe. So because these are the people, data engineers are the people who actually build the data infrastructure. All right. So they share the data, they perform different activities. So we'll try to understand more in detail here. So, data engineering is the practice of designing, building, and maintaining systems that collect, store, transform, and deliver data so it can be used for analysis, reporting, and machine learning. Let me tell you, here there are a lot of keywords you need to understand. See, first of all, you will be given different kinds of data sources. So, as a data engineer, what you do is normally you extract data from different kinds of data sources. So we have discussed in the demo session that, see, the traditional data warehouse architectures, right? So traditional data warehouse architectures are capable of holding only structured data. But here you will be given data in varied kind of format. So you will be having both structured data, unstructured kind of data. So given any kind of data, your role will be to extract all those kind of data and perform data ingestion using data pipelines. Right? So this is one of the flow. I'll explain you this flow again. So you not only extract the data, you also store it, you transform that particular data, you process that data, you maintain that data, and again, you also build a robust data infrastructure. Fine. So in simple terms, data engineers make sure the right data reaches the right people in the right format at the right time. So one thing I would tell you, today there are varied formats of data, guys. If you look at the files kind of data, right? I would divide the data into some different formats here. All right. So let me go with files here. Now, in traditional data warehouse architectures, we had some simple files like CSV, Excel, CSV and Excel. And again, we had also some kind of text files here. And again, some kind of older formats like XML. Fine. Now, no one is using XML, but again, these were the traditional formats here. Traditional formats, you had only some kind of files and again, some kind of databases, that too, some kind of traditional databases like Oracle and again, Microsoft SQL Server. And these are the kind of databases we had actually. But let me tell you guys, now these are not the only kind of sources that you will be dealing with. So you will also be dealing with different other kind of data sources. So for example, to say, apart from CSV, Excel and text file, right? You might also be working on JSON. Because see, nowadays we are working in some kind of automation environments here. So JSON is a common format which is used in real world scenarios. Then we also have some other kind of, concept called as Parquet. Parquet is some kind of big data formats, guys. Big data formats. Because you will be also dealing with huge volumes of data. So big data, Parquet, and again, some kind of formats like Avro, ORC, and again, today, the latest one is Apache Iceberg. Iceberg. So from Apache. So these are the common formats here. So you will be playing with huge volumes of data. Then coming to the case of databases, we have both cloud databases, we have on-premises databases, then we also have some kind of NoSQL kind of data sources as well. Data sources. Apart from this one, you also have some kind of data. We will be extracting some kind of data from some kind of web sources or APIs and some other kind of app data. Right. So these are the varied kind of formats you have. So data engineers normally work with variety kind of data sources, varied kind of data sources. Now let us try to understand the big picture here. So what does a data engineer do? So data engineer does all these kind of activities, like he will be involving in collecting data from sources like apps, databases, APIs, sensors, files, etc. So your main concept is to build the data pipelines here, data pipelines in order to perform data movement and data loading kind of activities, data pipelines. Do not worry. So we'll practically work with all these kind of scenarios, guys. All right. So this is just to give you some kind of introduction about what is data engineering. All right. So this process we call it as ETL or ELT process. We'll also discuss what is ETL and what is ELT kind of architectures here. Again, data cleaning and transformation is very important. So we have already discussed that because see, data cleaning is something which we have to perform on the data because normally when you deal with data in real world, right? So data might contain different discrepancies as we have discussed. It might contain duplicates or it might contain some kind of missing values as well. So we have to clean the data before even we perform some kind of transformation. So transformation involves like data joining, grouping, or aggregating. There are different other scenarios where you go with transformation and then storing the data. So once you transform the data, clean and transform the data, the next part is to store the data. So we normally store the data into data lakes, guys. All right, data lakes here. So we'll also tell you what is data lake once again. And then you go with some kind of data governance kind of activities before even you build before even you share some kind of data here. All right. So, we will be using some kind of tools in this way. So here you need to know something about SQL, Python, Apache Spark, Databricks, data lakes, and again, some kind of cloud kind of environment. So as part of a course, we'll be learning all these things in detail. So from tomorrow, we'll be starting over with SQL for the next 4 days, starting from tomorrow. So today it will be a kind of, an introduction session again on data engineering and a clear roadmap on what are the services we'll be working on Azure cloud. Fine. Now, why is data engineering required? So there are a lot of reasons for this one. So as I told you, traditional warehouses are sufficient only to work with structured kind of data. So let me also show you some images. Data warehouse. So I would go with data warehouse was data lakes here. Fine. As I told you, we'll be using the concept of data lakes, guys. In data engineering architectures, right? We'll be using the concept of data lakes here. So why data lake? I'll also tell you the reason. Now, data warehouse, we have clearly understood that it can be used only with structured kind of workloads. So when it comes to the case of, different formats of data, right? It might not suit well here. So data lakes are the solution here. Data lake is one kind of repository which lets you store different types of data or different volumes of data in its native format. What do you mean by native format here? That means I don't need to convert, each and every data, unlike in data warehouse, in a structured format here. So if I give you some kind of Parquet file, if I give you some kind of Apache Iceberg, if I give you some kind of CSV, Excel, I can maintain them as it is. No need to convert them. I have, and again, so we have already looked at this in practical in the last session here, but again, we'll also be going to learn this again, once again here. Detail step by step, I'll show you in a practical way. Fine. Again, compared to a data warehouse, data lake is huge. It can help you store huge amounts of data. All right, because it is purely a cloud kind of concept here. So it is hosted or it is created on kind of cloud here. You can go with different clouds. Here we'll be using Azure cloud. And then, as I told you, data warehouse is purely relational in nature here. But here the concept is not about relationality, but to help you, store the data for performing some kind of transformations later on the data here. So that is the concept of a data lake. So we'll also discuss in detail about this kind of concept here. So raw data is not usable here. Now, for example, now there are a lot of reasons why we require data engineering kind of practice. See, data engineering is a practice, guys. It is a procedure here. It is not any technology name or some kind of buzzword here. So it is a kind of practice that we actually perform on the different types of data. When you have different formats of data, different types of data, right? So how do you deal with that one? How do you govern that one? How do you even maintain that one, manage that one? So that is all about data engineering practice here. So raw data is not usable. Application generate different data in different formats. As I told you, you will be given both structured, unstructured, semi-structured, or even streaming kind of data. Now, when you have these different formats of data, right? So how do you deal with those kind of data? Yes. And again, see, businesses depend on data for decisions here. Now, when you had some kind of structured data, so the answer was data warehouse. All right. But now the concept is different, right? So data is getting generated in different formats here. So today we have apps here. So you people see now, see, people are, data is getting generated in multiple formats here. So we easily book some kind of products online. We book some kind of rides online, or we simply play some games online, watch some movies online, or there are different, sources where the data is getting generated in different ways here. All right. So if you have those kind of data, right, how you can deal with those kind of different varied formats here? So that is the question here. And again, now it is not only those kind of concept here, but the data has to be used for further advanced analytics here. Because today, go with any kind of industry here. So for example, a retailer. Now, retailer, see, when a sales happens, right, retailers are not just like, for example, looking at the data, but they also want to know which of the product might go well in the market here, or which of the which of the product can give them huge amount of sales here. In order to go with these kind of analytics, right, they require some kind of reliable data. Correct. So because they have to involve some kind of data science, machine learning, and some other kind of AI practices on top of that one. Nowadays, now AI is becoming trend kind of thing here. All right, I have to create my own kind of chat GPT kind of application, so that I can help my customers here. So likewise, if at all I want to train and implement any kind of AI models on top of data, first I need to have a reliable data. And who is going to give them the reliable data? Data engineers. Yes. And again, see, you will be dealing with huge amounts of data here. And again, I want some kind of real-time insights from this kind of data here. So all these are the varied reasons why we require data engineering practices today. All right. So imagine, like for example, there are so many different kinds of real-world cases here. All right. So so users browse different products. On a website or some kind of app or something. So data will be generated there. Now, when the orders are getting placed, right? So customers can purchase a product in different kinds of ways here. So they might flock to a store, or they might be browsing some kind of product online. Through an app or through website, and they might be purchasing some kind of products here. So different kinds of transactions will be generated. And again, even if you look at the payments, right? So payments are also into different kinds of modes today. All right. And even the delivery tracking, the logistic information, supply chain, and everything. So all these are, see, that is where data is getting generated in different formats. And when you're being given this kind of data into different formats, right? How do you track all this kind of data? How do you even manage all this kind of data? So that is where data engineers are into practice here. All right. So you people are into demand here in this kind of situations. All right. Now, if you look at, right, so today there are a lot of buzzwords in the market like data engineer, data scientist, data analyst, machine learning engineer. So these are the kind of roles we have actually. But let me tell you, all these kind of roles, data engineer is the key person in an analytics team here. Because as I told you, is the person who actually deals with the real data here. Now the rest of the roles, right? They come next year after data engineering, because see, they don't directly deal with data here. You people will be dealing with data. So and that is the reason you need to know few kinds of technologies, or you need to be skilled in some kind of areas here. All right. So data engineers are the people who actually build data pipelines and infrastructure, the data infrastructure here. Then these persons will come into the concept here. So they might be working on the data. They might be, going with some kind of reports, dashboards, or a data scientist might be using that kind of data for statistical inferences, machine learning kind of thing, predictions, classifications, and something. All right. So these are the things that will be happening. So you people are the key players. You people are the actual persons who will be dealing with the actual data here. So, as a simple analogy, so think of data as a water, where a data engineer will build pipeline and water treatment plants here. Data analysts study the water usage, how the water can be used here. And data scientists predict further, future water demand here. So, in future, likewise here. So, if you have some kind of data, right, which products might give me more number of sales here? Or what can be the, like, for example, Apple iPhone 17 sales here in the near future year or in the next quarter year. All right. If this is the kind of sales I'm getting, so what can be the, I mean, sales here? So will the sales be increasing or will the sales will be falling down? So I need to know all these kind of things. For all these kind of aspects, right? I need to have some kind of reliable data, and data engineer is the person who will be giving me this actual data. All right. So without a data engineer today, so analytics teams becomes, I mean, they can't work here actually. And let me tell you some real case studies, guys. So even 10 years back, right, when I worked as a data engineers and those kind of position, data scientists, even we were relying on some kind of data engineering teams here. All right. So without data engineers, right, it took a lot of time actually in cleaning the data, transforming the data, and so kind of things here. But today, I mean, because of these teams, right, things are becoming, like, for example, very faster here. All right. And let me tell you, data engineer is a right choice for you. I mean, the career option, if you ask me, right? Because nowadays, data is ruling the world here. And who has a lot of data, right? He will be ruling the world. So that is the reason big tech companies are fighting tech wars here. All right. It's on data here. So you see, Google has data, Microsoft has data, Meta has data, Apple has data, everyone has data here. And again, they are fighting AI wars here. So in order to, I mean, win this particular requires here. So there, I mean, it will be going on. I mean, that is common, right? So between the big tech companies here. Fine. Okay. So leave it apart. Now let us try to understand a storage kind of medium which is used most popularly in data engineering environments. Now you might be having this kind of different kinds of storages. So let me tell you, see, you will be given data into different formats, as I told you. It could be in a file format or it could be in a database kind of format. But understand one thing. See, you need to understand all this kind of data between two different kinds of data formats. One is structured data, and the other one is unstructured data. Unstructured data. All right. Unstructured data. All right. So structured data and unstructured data. Now, what is structured data? Structured data is some kind of data which has a predefined structure. For example, I mean, you can understand it to be a SQL table, a normal SQL table, a table, a table format here. All right. And in order to deal with this data, so you require knowledge into some kind of SQL here. All right. So I mean, you will be writing some kind of SQL queries in order to, deal with the data which is present in a database, tables, and everything. So here you need to go with some kind of SQL queries here. And of course, from tomorrow, for the next 4 days, we'll be starting with SQL. So because there are even certain students who do not know SQL, so we'll be starting with those kind of things. All right. So if you have structured data, we have some kind of format here. Then again, unstructured data. What about unstructured data? Unstructured data, I mean, see, there are different forms for this one. So we have file kind of things. We have different other kind of aspects also. I'll also show you how does things look like it. All right. So unstructured data, we have the concept of something. How do you process it? I'll tell you secondary. But again, where do you maintain this one? Now, if I have a structured data, I told you the data will be probably in the format of a table here. Now, where do you store this one, guys? Normally in a database only, right? Database. But what about the unstructured data? You require some kind of storage medium for this one as well, right? So here we go with the concept of a data lake. Data lake. Now, what is a data lake here? A data lake is a centralized storage repository that holds vast amounts of data in its native raw format. All right, in its native raw format. Look at this one, raw format, native format here. Native format means you can store any kinds of data here in its native format. Like for example, I can store Parquet as it is. No need to convert this one to any other kind of format. I can maintain a CSV here. I can maintain an Excel here. I can maintain some kind of JSON here. Everything I can maintain in its native format. Fine. And again, unlike a traditional data warehouse, which requires data to be structured here. So as I told you, right, in traditional data warehouse architecture, what we do is even before loading the data there, we try to, go with a structured kind of format here. Every data has to be converted into a structured format before we load the data into a data warehouse. But here it is not required here. Fine. Because see, the concept of data lake is to help you store the data first here. Then think about processing the data next year. This is the concept here. Fine. So now that is the reason in data engineering architectures, we go with ELT kind of architectures rather than ETL. ETL. So ETL is some kind of architecture where you perform extraction, transformation, loading kind of concept here. So these are the normal practices which we use in data warehousing, scenarios here. All right. But in data engineering, right, we go with this kind of architectures, extraction, loading, and transformation. So what you do is now what you do is, like for example, so as I told you, when you have been given with the different kinds of data sources, right? Now what you do, see, normally as a data engineer, you will be, extracting all this kind of data sources. You will be ingesting through a concept called as data pipelines here. You will be building the concept of a data pipeline. You will be performing data ingestion here. So this is the concept of data extraction. And then what you do, you normally ingest them and store them in a concept called as data lake here. So data lake is a cloud repository where you store different formats of data. So it could see, and the best part of data lake is it can help you store any formats of data, streaming data, unstructured data, structured data. Whatever it could be, anything you can store here. Then think about transforming this data later here. Fine. So it is something like first you're, extracting, collecting all the data, then you're loading the data somewhere, and then you're thinking about processing the data later here. It is about this one. See, data lakes actually help you with this kind of process here. All right. In a traditional data warehouse architectures, what happened? So we were extracting the data, we were first transforming the data, and then we were serving that particular data here. Now it is like, for example, so you have been given some kind of data. You think about how to process that data secondary. First, you think about how to load the data, how to store the data into here. So this is about this one. Because see, here the data can be used in multiple different kinds of ways, guys. We do not know that one because a data scientist might be using that data for some kind of reasons here. Data analysts might be using that data for in order to, go with some kind of reports, dashboard, something. Machine learning engineer might be using some kind of data in order to go with some kind of predictions on the data, classifications on the data. AI people might be using that data in order to train their AI models like ChatGPT or anything, whatever it could be, bots or something. All right. Now, when these people have different kinds of, like for example, scenarios on data, right? So I'll be just providing them this kind of data. Designing some kind of robust platform and architecture where I can serve data to this multiple teams here. So that is the main usage of this data lake here. So data lake is the obvious choice here. Fine. Yes. So instead of transforming data first, you store it first and process it later. So this is the main concept you have to understand about data lake here. And then what are the key reasons why data lakes are used actually? So because it can handle all types of data. As I told you, it can handle any kind of data here. And then it can store the data very cheaply because let me tell you, see, it is actually a cloud concept and you can store multiple formats of data. You can store huge amounts of data with a very cheaper cost here compared to data warehouses. Data warehouses are purely on premises and you require, a physical server here in order to store the data. And when the server is up, again, you have to go with another kind of server here. Fine. So likewise, the infrastructure setup will be more there. So in that cases, what happen is the cost will be more here. Capital cost. We call them as capital cost, guys. But here you don't have to worry about this fine because it is purely cloud kind of concept and you will be having unlimited storage capacities here. Fine. I'll tell you, Sai. Just a minute. I'll tell you this one. See, first of all, as I told you, why you go with, first loading first and then going with processing that data secondary is, as I told you, you might be having multiple activities on the data here. Let me show you this kind of architecture. See, first of all, I'll explain you with this kind of architecture here. Then I'll go through that architecture. Now these teams will be actually relying on you. These people can work only with simple kind of structured data. Like if they have been given some kind of table data, or let's say they have been given some kind of simple file systems like Excel file, CSV file, these kind of files, right? They can easily work on those kind of formats here. But let me tell you, if they have been given some kind of Parquet, if you're getting some kind of sales data in a Parquet file, if you're getting some kind of sales data in some kind of JSON format, or in any other kind of API or some other kind of format, so what will be the situation then? So do you think that these people can directly work on those kind of formats here? No. So what you'll be doing is they'll be relying on you. They'll be seeking your approach here. So what you do is you collect all this kind of data. You first store all this kind of data at some point here. That means data lake here. Fine. Now what you do, you actually clean, transform, process all that kind of data, and then give them that data in their kind of way here. So might be see. Now, if you ask me, right, I'm even working as an AI. So most probably we'll be going with CSV and some kind of tabular kind of files here, CSV Excel files. Now, even if I have some kind of different file, right? So I can still work on that file. But again, when it comes to the case of data cleaning, data transformation, right, I again rely on these kind of people itself. Because see, a lot of time goes into those kind of formats, and I mean, I'll be not working on that kind of formats here. So this is also the reason. There are various reasons here in real world action. So, I mean, again, this is one concept here. And again, the other thing is data might be used for multiple scenarios here. As I told you, now a BI team, a BI analyst might be using that data. He might be using that data only for some kind of reports, dashboard generation. All right. On the other hand, data scientists might be using that particular data in order to apply some kind of statistical inferences on the data. So, for example, if there are two products here, so which of the product might be customer interested into? All right, why is this interested into actually? If you're purchasing some kind of iPhone, so why that you are interested to purchase iPhone? Even I have to understand this kind of scenarios as well. All right, so data scientists will be using some kind of statistical inferences, machine learning. So they might be going with predictions and again classification something. So data is used in different ways here. We do not know that one. So that is the reason. If I mean, see, first of all, transform the data, right? Might be data might not be used in, I mean, all the purposes here. And again, see, all of this data I can't process, I mean, at one single point of time there. That is also the reason here, because you have been given different varieties of data here. So this is the architecture we go with. So we first load the data, then we think about how to transform and process that kind of data later here. So this is the concept here. I'll also explain you about this kind of architecture once we go through AD services here. So first, let us try to understand the concept here. Fine. Now, the other reasons why data lakes are primary kind of storages in data engineering practices is, so first of all, they can handle any kind of data. They can store huge volumes of data, and also it can support with big data analytics and AI kind of concepts as well. Schema on read, I'll tell you, like for example, when we go dive into the practical applications on this one. So what is schema on read here? So that means, see, in simple way, structure is only applied when the data is pulled for analysis. Meaning, now you'll be having data here. You'll be having some kind of raw data here. So it is a raw data that you're maintaining here. Now, raw data is something. So when you require that data for some kind of purposes, right, you will be then applying some kind of structure onto that one, and you will be designing it in your own ways here. So that is how it is actually. Now I've given you some kind of ingredients, guys. All right. Now, how you want to, I mean, cook that one. So that is up to you actually. So what kind of recipe you want to make it out of it? Or if I have given you some kind of ingredients to cook something, right? I mean, how which kind of dish you'll be making from out of that one. So that is up to you here. Fine. So first of all, I'll be giving you some kind of raw ingredients. It is something in that way. Okay. All right. Now again, let me tell you, data lakes are scalable kind of thing because it is purely a cloud kind of concept here. So you can have unlimited storage capacities. As of now, we are dealing with petabytes of data here, more than TBs and something here. All right. So I've given you some kind of differences here. So let us walk you, down through this kind of thing. Now, when it comes to the case of data type, so data warehouse can handle only structured data, as I told you. But data lake is something where you can maintain raw, structured, unstructured streaming kind of data as well. Processing, when it comes to the case of processing, schema applied before storing it. That means when you see after transforming the data, before loading the data, you perform transformation here. That is what is schema applied before storing here. But here the concept is different here. So schema is applied only when it is required here. And when it comes to the case of cost wise, right? Data warehouse are very costlier here because it requires huge capital costs in order to maintain this infrastructures here. And then again, data lakes are very cheaper in cost because there are purely cloud kind of concept here. And coming to the purposes, right? Data warehouse primarily purpose is for reporting and analysis. So you prepare some kind of reports, dashboards, so which can be viewed by your decision makers here. Decision makers in an organization. So they'll come to know what is happening in the data. So they can take some kind of business decisions out of it here. So they go with some kind of insights from the data here. But here it is, it serves for different other kind of purposes like big data analytics, data science, machine learning, and some other kind of data exploration technologies. Now, when it comes to the case of end users, right, here there are business users who will be using this kind of data. But when it comes to the case of data lakes, right, data engineers and data scientists, machine learning people require this kind of concept here. All right. And when you come with a case of queries, so queries, because it is very slower because here you will be having raw data. So first of all, raw data has to be converted into some kind of format here. But here already there is some kind of data, ready-made data for you. So you can, normally go with some kind of SQL queries on top of it. But when it comes to the case of flexible architectures, right? Data lakes will give you a very flexible architecture because once you have the data at some place, right? I can make use of that data in a multiple variety of ways here. So this is the concept here. All right. So you can think of it like a food, like data lake, raw ingredient storage here. So as I told you, right, you will be given all kind of ingredients here. Then, see, it's up to you what kind of dish you want to prepare out of it. But data warehouse is like, for example, it is a ready-made kind of dish for you. You can eat only that kind of concept here. You can't prepare any other kind of dish out of it here. So you can understand in that way. How data quality and validation is handled in ELT when the raw data first and load in the data lake. Data quality and validation comes next year. So once you load the data, right, then you go with some kind of transformation part here. So in the transformation part, we actually clean the data. We go with different validation kind of concepts there. And once the data is loaded, right, converted and loaded, right, then we go with other kind of validation kind of concepts also. I'll tell you this concept later. So data governance and again some other kind of concepts comes later actually. So first you have to know how to use the data. What is the purpose that you're using that data for here? After that, so we implement some kind of data validation kind of rules here. And also discuss. So while while we discuss all these concepts, so one by one, right? Practically, then you'll understand the bigger picture here. All right. Now, so data lake, finally, I can tell you something, guys. Data lake is something which stores everything first, analyze later. Data is something which cleans first, analyze immediately. So when you want to go with the quicker insights from the data like reports and something, right? Data warehouse is the choice here. But most of the cases now today, the companies are going with, both of these concepts here, combined kind of architecture here. So data lakes, and again, see, let me tell you, they are going with the combination of these things here, combination of these things. So now there is a special concept called as lake house here, lake house, which is a combination of data lake plus, and again, data warehouse here. All right. Data lake and warehouse. Please do not do in this way. Data lake and data warehouse. All right. So let me even show you that. Let's see this one. All right. Because as I told you, right, today you will be dealing with different varieties of data here. So how do you deal with all those kind of data? Now, one point is that structured data, the way it is dealt, right? This unstructured data it cannot be dealt in the same way, right? So you require different procedures and different processes here, right? So that is the reason I told you, you have to think in these kind of terms here. So when you are being given some kind of data, right? So what is structured data and what is unstructured data? So you have to understand the data in these two kinds of scenarios here. So when you're being given some kind of structured data, you would obviously go with some kind of database here. And when you're being given some kind of unstructured data, for storage process, you will be going with data lake here. But how to transform and process that data? So here, so we'll be going with some kind of concept called as ADF, Azure Data Factory. But again, when you have unstructured data, right, here is where you require the concept of data bricks here. Because see, you have a lot of unstructured kind of data with you. You have some kind of JSON file, you have a Parquet file, you have iceberg kind of file, you have again some other kind of streaming kind of data, everything. So here, how you deal with this kind of data, something different here. Again, how do you deal with some kind of unstructured data is again something different here. So you have to understand the, concept here first. Again, try to understand the architecture also here. How do you go with this kind of implementation? All right. Data engineers should first understand the concept here about the data. Secondary, you also need to understand about the environment you are working with. All right. So if you have been given some kind of structured data, how do you deal with this one? If you have been given unstructured data, how do you deal with this one? So this is the concept here I'm telling you. So when you have structured data, so we go with some kind of process called as Azure Data Factory data flows here. And again, unstructured data. So we have Databricks here. And on Databricks, in order to work on Databricks, right, you require some kind of Python plus Apache Spark kind of concept here. Apache knowledge here. Fine. And as part of our course, we'll also be learning this kind of concepts here. So no need to worry about, I mean, whether you know programming, don't know programming or something. And trust me, it is simpler to learn Python and Apache Spark also. All right. So here we require a combination of both of these things here. A combination of both of these things is nothing but a data lakehouse. So where you build some kind of robust data infrastructure here, fine. So where you, I mean, see, this architecture is about dealing with any kinds of data formats here, and again, any kind of data load process here. So whether you go with batch load, sequential kind of process, streaming kind of data, big data analytics here, everything will be, can be done here. And then the data will be at one single place so that you can share this data to all this kind of multiple teams as well. So this is the concept of a data lakehouse. More about this, we'll be looking at in practical scenario once we move to the Databricks concept here. So this is only the theoretical part I'm explaining you. Fine. So see, look at this one. So
Abhishek,
modern data architecture
sorry,
needs,
sorry
yes,
to, could you please stop the screen share and then reshare it
yes,
again?
yes.
Somebody scratched.
Yeah,
Team,
yeah.
please be careful if you scratch unnecessary distractions. So don't use any whiteboard on the Zoom. It will automatically reflect in the record.
All right. So as we discussed today, companies are using both of these architectures here. So collectively it is called as a lakehouse. So in lakehouse, right, the data is actually validated in this kind of way. Let me also show you that. See, in this kind of way. So there are different ways. Let me show you this one. So data will be first of all, you'll be extracting the data from different kinds of data sources, guys. So and again, what you do, you maintain some kind of lakehouse architecture, something in this way, bronze, silver, and gold. I mean, see, these are some kind of repositories. These are data lake concept only. So only the thing is, how do you maintain and process the data? So this is the concept here. So think of this bronze as some kind of data lake where you actually store some kind of raw data. I mean, whatever data you will be extracting from the client's systems or sources, right? You'll be maintaining them as it is. Now, in the silver kind of layer, right, what you do, you actually perform data transformation process, data transformation, data cleaning, something. And then finally, after transforming the data, you, I mean, store the refined data or transform data in in an aggregated format here. All right, in an aggregated format. So this is called as a gold layer. And now when the data is into some kind of aggregated format, right? So data can be used for multiple purposes directly, right? So these people now can use the data in their own. So as I told you, data analysts might be going with the reports, dashboards, data science will be using statistical concepts here, machine learning predictions here, AI people will be using the data to train their AI models here. All right. So this is the process here. So when you have different formats of data, right, how do you maintain and how do you process the data is through this kind of concept here. And this concept will be doing it in data bricks practically. All right. So this is only the theoretical concepts, guys. But in a practical way, right? I'll show you how it can be refined here. So the typical flow of the data will be something in this way. So further data is collected from different sources. Data is first stored in a data lake, which is called as a raw kind of layer. Data is cleaned and transformed, which is also called as a silver layer. Refined and transformed data is finally stored in lakehouse here. Fine. Data is then used for dashboards and reports, data science, ML, and AI. So this is the flow here. So this kind of concept we call it as a databricks here. And I've given you the same kind of architecture here. So just go through these documents, guys. You'll be getting complete insights into what is data lake and why we require this one. All right. So now the other concept is about ETL and ELT kind of architectures. Now, what is ETL? In a simple way, ETL is about extraction, transformation, and loading, which is the common kind of approach we use in data warehouses. So here the concept is data is first extracted. Second, it is transformed. And again, even before you load the data into a warehouse, right, it is actually transformed here. But as I told you, ELT is something different because we have, when you have different varieties of data, right? So transformation comes next year. Fine. So first, the concept is about to extract the data and load the data first here. So we load the data into data lakes here, and then we think about transforming the data in different ways here. Because what I told you guys, see, think about the data in these two kinds of ways here, structured data and structured data. How do you process that one? Because see, now when you have structured data, you can't process the same kind of data unlike in unstructured data, right? That means when you have a structured data which is stored in a database, right, you go with ADF as I told you. So you go with SQL queries, you also go with some kind of data flows, everything. But when you have unstructured data, you require this powerful concept here because data is into different formats here and you require a different approach for this one. Fine. So this is the concept here. Guys, just all right. So ETL process I've given. See, transformation happens before loading here. Fine. But again, see, let us try to understand the ELT process here. So extract data, load raw data into data lake or warehouse, transform inside the storage system later here. Transformations happens after loading. So raw data stored first uses power of cloud warehouses, supports big data and unstructured data, faster ingestion. The main concept of ELT kind of architectures is to use the concept in big data kind of analytics, machine learning kind of environments here. Because when you have different varieties of data, how do you deal with that kind of data is the concept here, as I told you. All right. So now there are multiple ways here. So ETL and again ELT kind of concepts here. All right. So just go through this one, guys. All right. I've given you the documents here. I've uploaded already. So just go through this one and again go through all this kind of concepts here. You'll be getting some kind of insights into what exactly is ETL and what is ELT. Only the difference is ETL is used in data warehouses and structured workloads. ELT is the latest concept which is used in our modern cloud data engineering practices here. So this is the concept here. In a simple way, what is ETL is you cook food first, then store in a fridge here, and then you serve for different other kind of people here. ELT is you store raw ingredients, cook when needed here. So you cook different kinds of dish. I mean. That is what I told you. Data can be served in multiple ways here. This is the concept here. Fine. So now let me tell you about the Azure Data Engineering architecture here. So when you go with the Azure Data Engineering architecture here is now, I told you we have discussed about data pipelines. We have even discussed about the data lake kind of concept here. And again, we have even discussed the concept of data bricks here. How the data actually flows here, let me tell you. So this is the real world architecture here. So when given some kind of data, right, you normally extract the data in multiple different ways here. You build the concept of a data pipelines using some kind of concept called as data factory, Azure data factory. You ingest all that kind of data into something called as a data lake here. Fine. And then what you do, so as I told you, if you have structured workloads and again unstructured kind of data, you now have both the things here. Fine. If it is structured kind of data, you still go with Azure Data Factory data flows. If it is unstructured data, you normally integrate your data lake storage with Databricks. You then play with the data with PySpark here. That means Apache PySpark here, both Python and Apache Spark. So we leverage the powerful features of Apache PySpark on top of Databricks here. So you perform different activities there as well. So you can even perform data cleaning, transformation, loading, everything. You can do that one. All right. You can even play with streaming data. You can play, I mean, you will processing big data kind of formats, everything you can do there. All right. Finally, the refined data, right? So this process I told you, right? Bronze, silver, gold. So this is the concept of something called as a delta lake, lake house or delta lake here. Lake house or delta lake, people call it as. So when you have the final data which is stored here, right, in an aggregated or summarized format, the data can then be used in multiple ways here. So you can even, I mean, share this data to this machine learning kind of environments here. So those people might be going ahead with some kind of prediction models or something. Or else, I mean, see, if it is only for end user reporting, right, you can even directly connect it with Power BI also. Or what you can do, I mean, you can even move this to Fabric environment. In Fabric, anyways, there is some kind of inbuilt Power BI integration. You can directly go with Power BI there. All right, you can build some kind of reports, visualizations. You can come up with some kind of dashboards, everything. So this is the concept, guys. Now, in order to maintain this entire infrastructure, right? So this is an entire infrastructure. All these services are, I mean, we are using different services for different purposes here. In order to maintain them, right? See, we require some kind of governance and some kind of infrastructure support also, right? So we go with some kind of things here. All right. How do you, like, for example, govern your, I mean, data here? How do you secure your data here? So what are the different kind of concepts here involved? So we'll be going with all this kind of concepts here. Delta Lake and Lagos, yes, those are both the same here. Fine. Now let me tell you, see, what are the AD services, guys? And these are very important. AD services. First thing, you need to understand about how to store the data here. Because see, as per our concept, right, what we have discussed, storage is the first primary kind of thing here. Then you think about processing the data here. Fine. Now, when it comes to the case of data storages, we'll be going with some kind of concept called as blob storage. I'll also tell you what is blob storage. And again, we'll also be going with some kind of concept called as Azure Data Lake Storage. Data Lake Storage. Also, this one is also called as some kind of ADLS, guys. ADLS. Popularly, this service is also called as ADLS. It is a data lake actually. And then you also have something called as Azure SQL database. Database here. All right. Now, let me tell you, blob storage and Azure Data Lake storage are used for unstructured kind of data. Then you might ask me one question. So why we're using both kind of things here? Data lake is sufficient, right? We have discussed about data lake here. What is the concept of blob here? Let me tell you, if they are using blob, probably they might be using blob for some kind of data backup kind of services here. Find data backups here. But the concept is the same thing, but only the other difference is data lake can store huge amounts of data than compared to blob here. So practically, I'll show you the difference here. Fine. So when we go with our first session, that means on pipeline building, I'll show you there. And again, Azure SQL database is something so which it stores some kind of structured data. All right, structured data, structured data. And about this one, right? So this purely stores some kind of unstructured data here. We have already looked at. Now, what about the data processing? Data processing in the sense, I'm speaking about data cleaning and transformation. How do you perform this one? So there are two things here. You have to understand Azure Data Factory. Azure Data Factory. So you have Azure Data Factory. Primarily, the concept here is to, I mean, go with the data, I mean, building data pipelines here. Build data pipelines. All right. Both ETL and again ELT kind of pipelines here. All right. Then the other concept is to, I mean, perform data loading kind of data movement or data loading kind of concept here. Then data transformation. All right. Data transformation. All right. So this is the concept of data factory. Then we have something called as Azure Databricks, guys. Azure Databricks. Now, the primary reason why we go with Azure Databricks is we want a collective environment for both batch and stream kind of jobs here. All right. Collective or integrated environment for both batch as well as some kind of stream kind of jobs here. Stream jobs. All right. Then we also require this platform for big data analytics, big data processing, big data analytics. All right. Analytics. And then here is where we actually build the lakehouse here. All right. Lakehouse, or which we also call it as a delta lake here. Fine. So this is the reason we actually use for this one. Fine. Then for data governance, right? So we have something called as Entra ID. Entra ID. So previously, this was actually called as Microsoft Active Directory. And most of you people might be knowing if you have worked in Microsoft environments, right? Active Directory. All right. And then, I mean, like, for example, we also have something concept called as Azure Key Vault. So this is for security kind of thing, securing your data in an encryption format here. So we'll be using this kind of services here. Then, I mean, see, apart from all these kind of services, right, we also have a specialized service called Microsoft Fabric. Microsoft Fabric. All right. So this is an end-to-end end-to-end data engineering workflow environment. Data engineering, again, data analytics, data science environments here. Fine, end-to-end, analytics platform for, I can tell you, this is an end-to-end analytics platform. Analytics platform for data engineers, data analysts, data scientists kind of people here. So here the concept is, it is the combination of your ADLS plus it is the combination of your Azure Data Factory plus it is the combination of your Azure Databricks also, guys. Databricks here. ADB stands for Databricks here. All right. ADB. Fine. So it is the concept of all these kind of platforms here. That means whatever you can perform individually using different services, right? Collectively, you can perform all in one single platform. That is about Microsoft Fabric here. All right. So here we have the concept of something called as a lake house again and again. You also have something called as a warehouse here.
200. Take a
Warehouse.
quick slalom and then eat it. మీకు స్నానం చేసిన తర్వాత
All right. So we have this kind of concept here. So these are our entire Azure data engineering services, guys. So which will be, which will be using for the next 2 months here, which will be working on this services for the next 2 months here. All right. That means 8 weeks or something, whatever. All right. So first of all, for storage kind of part, we'll be configuring and will be practically, working on this kind of mediums here. Then when it comes to the case of data processing, right? As I told you, you have to understand about structured and unstructured kind of way. You have to think in those kind of formats here. Fine. So you have Azure Data Factory, also popularly called ADF. And then we also have something called Azure Databricks here. Then we have something called MNC, Entra ID and Azure Keyboard, which are used for data security and governance kind of part here. Then comes the concept of Microsoft Fabric here. So before we try to understand about, before we work on Databricks, right? I'll also be, MNC will also be working with Python and Apache Spark here. Apache Spark. So also popularly called PySpark. All right, PySpark. So, see, leave it this questions or some kind of doubts from your mind that I do not know programming and from non-IT background. So don't worry about that one because here we'll be learning from scratch here. All right. So what things are required in order to understand about data engineering concepts? So we'll be learning those kind of concepts here. All right. And from tomorrow, as I told you, for the next 4 days, right, we'll be, going with SQL, guys. I hope there are even people, so who are new to SQL. So we'll be having, some kind of refresher kind of thing on SQL here for the next 4 days here, starting from tomorrow. After that, post that one, right? We'll be again going with this AD kind of thing here. All right. I'll practically help you with creating your Azure accounts. And again, see, no need to install any SQL kind. I'll tell you. All right. So if you have MySQL, that is okay. But anyways, I'll give you tomorrow about MySQL. I'll give you the notes, guys. All right. I'll also give you the installation kind of document. So you can use it in case if you want a separate SQL client here. But there are even a lot of SQL online compilers as well. So you can make use of that one. Fine.
Vamshi, can you also please upload those documents?
Sure,
I
sure.
just want
I'll
you,
do that.
I want you to upload the class documents one class before, please, so that students can read and join the class. Yeah,
Fine, fine, fine. I'll do that one.
perfect, wonderful, all good. We're
Yeah.
almost done with the class, students. Anyone, any
Yes.
questions? You can unmute and ask. You can raise your hand. You can unmute and ask. Let us follow that discipline. Whoever is having any question, there is an option in the Zoom where at the bottom, there is an option to raise your hand. Because if 3, 4 people just unmute and then suddenly start talking, and then it may lead confuse. Yeah, Ankit, go ahead, sir.
Yeah, um, good afternoon. I'm just asking, like, we don't know how to install the SQL and whatever we are gonna use the softwares. So you guys are gonna instruct us, like, or just providing the documents, or you're
Yes.
gonna tell us on live sessions, like how we are gonna install those things?
Yes, yes, Ankit. Yes, I'll be guiding you practically. Do not worry.
Okay, thanks much.
So
Appreciate your
tomorrow
help.
when we start with SQL, the first part is I'll be guiding you how to install that one, right?
Yep.
Then you can
Yep.
practice here.
Okay. Thanks. Appreciate your help.
Yeah, I'll also share the installation document as well today itself. After this session, I'll be uploading that one as well. All right.
Samantha?
So next, Samantha, please.
Hi, Vamsi.
Yes. Can you be
Can you
louder?
hear
I'm
me?
sorry. Yes.
Oh,
Yes. Now
can
it's
you
okay.
hear me now? Yeah,
Yeah.
sorry. The Azure Data Factory and Databricks, right? These environments. So Microsoft Fabric is something that's complete package. So
Yes.
why? So the focus. I mean, why we learn like all of them? Like the companies still, like as Fabric is more advanced. Like I'm not sure, like when exactly.
Yeah.
It's this environment came into effect, and
Yeah.
so the focus should be, I'm thinking, like more, will we cover Fabric, like
Thank you for this
this?
question. In fact, it's a
Yeah,
very good
because
question, actually. I'll explain
yeah,
you the concept.
okay,
See,
okay.
now, even before, see, Microsoft Fabric is a new concept now. Before this product, right, Microsoft had some other kind of concept called as Synapse Analytics. I don't know how many of you know this one. So, might be some people who are working as a data engineer, they know this one. So, we had some kind of Synapse Analytics. They had three pillars here: Synapse Analytics, ADF, Azure Data Factory, and Azure Database here. The only reason why Microsoft has rolled out this Fabric kind of thing is it is very expensive. Synapse Analytics is very expensive. And because of this one, right, Microsoft lost, so many different clients here because they were not able to bear this cost actually. So here, what happens is, charges will be actually incurred both on storing the data and well as for data operations here. Normally in ADF, right, ADF is very only cheaper actually, and only they'll be charging you for transforming the data here. Database is also the almost all the same thing here. It is very lower in cost actually. But when it comes to the case of Synapse Analytics, right? So the things are different here because of that one. So Microsoft did lost some kind of clients here, and that is the reason they came up with this kind of product here, Fabric. Analytics here, Fabric Analytics, where they want to give you some kind of end-to-end kind of workflows here. And also they have rolled out this product in such a way that there is no concept of even to rely on other third-party vendors here, like Databricks here. Now, when I'm speaking about Databricks, right, Databricks itself will be actually running on Apache Spark clusters. So the concept is Apache Spark here, not Databricks. So here they have, designed this platform in such a way. So you get, complete environment here. So this is the concept here. And they're giving you for very cheaper kind of cost here. Now it has become a trend here. And there are still companies who are actually working on ADF and ADB collectively. They actually go with this kind of formats. Out of 10 companies, right? Almost all 2 to 3 companies only use Synapse. Rest of the companies go with these two kinds of architectures. And now this is becoming a trend actually. And now they are going with some kind of migrating their workloads to Fabric environment. So this is the concept here. So you might be getting some kind of environment tomorrow where they might be already working on this kind of platforms, or they might be going with completely this platform. We do not know this one. So that is why we are learning all these kind of services here. All
Yeah,
right.
makes sense. So we need to know, yeah, if we
Yes.
have to work in.
You
Okay,
have to
thank you.
be, first of
Yeah.
all, knowing about the environment here. That's the reason.
Hmm.
So given this kind of environment, you can readily work tomorrow. Even given this kind of environment, you can readily work also. All right. So this is the concept here. Fine. Any other questions? But in fact, it's a good question that you asked here. Fine.
Vara?
Yes, Vara.
Yeah, hello. Can you hear me?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. I have two questions.
Yeah.
The first question is I think I already got the explanation of the end-to-end data analysis platform for data science, data engineer, and data analysis. So I wanted to ask if we are focusing only on by the end of this course, are we going to be able to work equally on other cloud platforms like AWS and Google Cloud? I wanted to ask this question. That's the first question.
Yeah, we'll go
And
one by one, Vara. I sent you
okay,
the I already sent you the course document, and I'm also sending you I just sent it on the so in this Zoom chat as well. So that has been communicated to all the students. You are new student here. That's why I'm just resending it again. So this learning is completely focused on the Azure, which is really ruling the world now. So we are not covering, it's not like a multi-cloud environment training. It will take ages. The focus is going to be only on Azure strictly.
Okay.
Okay, Vara?
Thank you.
Yeah,
Yeah,
next
thank
question.
you.
Yeah,
Okay,
next
thank you.
question, please.
You answered my next question already. That's okay.
Oh, all right. Yeah, yeah. Because we don't want to give any kind of false commitments and set the expectations. Whatever we commit and we make it happen. Yeah. Anyone, any questions?
I
Ashwin, go ahead, sir.
sorry. Uh, Something you mentioned earlier, like Synapse. If you could just put again that notepad you made
Fine,
while
fine, fine,
explaining.
fine. This one, right?
Can't see at the moment.
Yeah.
Yeah. So Azure Synapse, that's also
Synapse.
part of
Yeah.
what.
Synapse.
Yeah, Synapse. That's also we're learning part of the in this training.
Yes, Synapse components are part of Fabric, so you'll be learning the new Synapse that is Fabric here.
Okay. Okay. All
So
right.
even Microsoft itself is recommending to use this service here, not the older ones. This is the newer ones here. So you'll be working on the newest, later kind of ones here, latest kind of technology.
Okay. All right. So like like just what I get, like what is data. Just wanted to make sure like I'm getting the right thing out of what I've gathered
See, let
today.
me show you. Yeah, just let me show you this one.
Yeah.
See, if you go with this platform, right? So you can see this one, right? Like, I mean, the Synapse components have been integrated into this fabric here. So, and again, he's giving you complete package solution here. So, which an end-to-end kind of workflows you can design here. So, you will be part of Synapse only, but you will be working on a new platform called Fabric Analytics. So where you'll be, I mean, using some data factory, Synapse data engineering. This is for, I mean, unstructured kind of data. So data science, of course, we do not require this kind of concept here. Data warehouse will be using this one. Real-time analytics for streaming data and Power BI for visualizations here. So this is data activator is for data management here. So all the data will be stored in one lake, which is a data lake in Microsoft Fabric here. So this is the concept. So more of this, I'm practically will be looking at in Microsoft Fabric sessions here.
Okay. Okay. Got you. Thanks.
Any
Fine.
final
Another
questions,
questions?
team? Yeah,
Yeah.
thanks.
Yes, of course, Bara. I'll also give you some kind of homeworks assignments as well. Yes. Yeah. So another question. Let me go with this. What is this one? Yeah. I think what is this question? Okay, if the unstructured data is constantly changing from a data source, would it be possible to build an efficient data pipeline with the help of ETL? ETL, that is the reason we don't use ETL kind of approach here. We go with ELT. So when you have changing data, right, how do you actually capture those kind of changing data? So that is the concept here. So we have some kind of concept like incremental loading, SAD2 pipelines and something. So using the concept of this lakehouse also, we actually track the changes. I mean, so there is a concept called as delta tables here. So which actually helps you in tracking all those kind of changes here. So we go with those kind of concepts actually. Fine. So we can do that one. When a PySpark executor fails, there are reasons here. First of all, you have to understand what are the reasons, what are the error that it is throwing you. Then you can debug accordingly. So we'll discuss this PySpark concepts when we go with those kind of sessions here. So which Azure Synapse tools are we going to learn in this course? The concept in Azure Synapse is you have both SQL pools and Spark pools, guys. All right. SQL pools is where you will be storing structured data. Spark pools is where you store unstructured data. So You have the same kind of concept like lakehouse and warehouse here. The same kind of concept they have introduced something called as a lakehouse and warehouse. Lakehouse is for storing both structured and unstructured data. Warehouse is purely for some kind of structured data with analytics here. So this is the concept. So we'll be learning those kind of tools here. Yes, Rekha, I think you have some kind of doubt. Yes, what's question?
Yeah. Yes. Actually, the day one we just saw the courses like we are creating data containers and everything, right?
Yes.
Data set, data containers, everything. We are I mean, we are for all the things we are using the fabric, or we are just preparing everything manually, Vamsi.
See, first of all, we'll be extracting the data and storing the data in a containers here. Then
Okay.
after that, how do you actually process the data in real world? I'll tell you. We'll be using Azure Data Factory for processing the data, transformation and data movement kind of activities, Databricks for playing with unstructured data. And finally, after all these things, right, we'll be going with Fabric part. So where we'll be dealing with end-to-end kind of workflows there.
So before that, we are everything we are created in a manual method. Just you
There are,
are you did it yesterday, right? You are creating a
yeah,
containers, data
yes.
set, and pipeline everything.
Yes. So that is in I mean, this month, a data factory part here. But when it
Yeah.
comes to the case of fabric, right, all these things are not even required. I mean, so you can do in a much quicker way there.
Okay.
So we'll go
Okay.
one by one here. We'll learn
Yeah.
one by one.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you.
All right, team. So I highly encourage all of you, strongly encourage all of you to please read the documents that whatever the Vamshi is using in the class, the same documents are uploaded in the Google Drive. So the Google Drive link is there in the email. And if you have any access issues after the class, you can just message me or call me. So, but ensure that from the day one, let us start understanding the concepts. Don't wait that. Don't try to have a mindset that, oh, maybe I'll wait for a weekend or I will wait for 10 days. After 10 days, I take 2 or 3 days and I will complete all the training. I will complete all the recordings. It won't work. We all have too much on our plate with our busy schedules, but we have to make it happen, especially when we are changing. Whenever we are changing, right? So that extra effort is very much required. And kindly read the document because from tomorrow, all of you will be installing the SQL and you will be given hands-on assignments as well. So we'll start with the baby steps, right? All good? Are you okay, Samantha, or accidentally raised?
No, I had a
All good?
question. Quick,
Oh,
quick
yeah, go
question.
ahead. Yeah,
Quick
go
one.
ahead, please.
Fine, please.
Tomorrow, the unfortunately, I won't be able to attend. So I just want to make sure, like tomorrow, we're not gonna create any Azure accounts yet, right? Because you'll be covering, Vamshi will be covering
Yeah.
SQL only, right?
So the
Yes,
entire
yes, yes.
next Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, I mean, like for next 4 days, the focus is going to be heavily on the SQL, which is very
SQL.
much required. Yeah, next week,
Okay.
Monday, I mean, Australia
Okay.
time, Monday, most likely we'll be creating the Azure accounts.
Okay. Okay. Sounds good.
Okay.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah.
Thank you.
And I also want to just to show you the flow, just 1 minute, so that you guys just 1 minute. I hope I'm not sharing any sensitive information. Just 1 minute. Right. So this is the February. I will just open November drive, and then here you can just quickly scan. Like we have the fundamentals here. So we have the SQL here, commands, sets, everything. So day 5, I think. So next week is day 5, or maybe, yeah, I think, yeah, maybe on this Friday or next Monday we Azure account creations, and then we go for the data factory, Azure ADF, and then the controls, ingestings, data flows, and then the SCD incremental loading pipelines. Then we will come back and then we have to understand the Python, PySpark, and then how you are going to combine both, and then yeah, all this stuff, Delta lakes, fabrics, pipelines, storages. Yeah, everything is yeah, but definitely not in next 2 3 days. It's fine.
Thank you. Yeah.
All good. Thank you. All good, team. Hope all of you had good level of understanding about the basics, and we don't have any interruptions. Hope all of you enjoyed. And once again, I want to tell sorry for what has happened on the day zero, just with a little bit of internet disruptions. That too, Vamshi has traveled for a Microsoft client operations. Okay, Peter, go ahead.
Thank you for the training. I just want to find out in order to bring ourselves par. We've had two classes now. So what do you think what we can study so that we can bring ourselves at par before the next class?
Right. So whatever you experience at day zero, it's just only the high level knowledge. It's like before you watch a movie, you will get the trailers and the teasers. So you can think the day zero as a teaser kind of a thing. Okay, you can ignore that part. And whatever we had in the day one, it's more like a trailer kind of a thing. So we understood the basics and what is the purpose of each component, structured data, unstructured data, just the terminology we became familiar. So for you to familiarize yourself again, you can go to the Google Drive link and start reading those materials. Okay, you can familiarize yourself with the terminology. That's very, very important. Understand the purpose of the components. And from tomorrow, you can install the SQL editor, and then you are going to do the SQL activities. Peter,
Okay, thank
clear?
you. Thank you. That's
All good,
good.
sir.
Yeah.
Thank you. All right. Really appreciate the time and effort. Oh, yeah. Thank you very much. It means a lot for us. And please keep your expectations high. And we really work hard to make it happen. And we try to exceed your expectations. All good. Perfect. Thank you all. I assume no more further question. Is it possible to have material for the week? Francis, to be honest, entire week is going to be a little bit advanced, maybe on a daily basis, because what we do is me and Vamshi, we observe the job descriptions. We are not like, whatever the material that we are sharing here. To be honest, we are doing this batches for, if I just show you my LinkedIn, I'll show you why. And sorry, not here. And if I just type here Azure, and you can see the batches that we train. So this is a February 2025, November 2025, and whatever happened in the June 24, and we completely changed the material because we closely observe the market dynamics. Not only this, for all our trainings programs. So we continuously change, update based on the job descriptions and everything. And if any extra content has to be added, we add, and material will be adjusted. So entire 1 week, it'll be too much, but upfront 1 day, definitely yes. We will ensure that the material is up to date and then standards, and then you can read that one. Because we can share it from the, for example, if I just open here, 2024, February 2024. So we have here Azure Data Engineer, no, not February 24, maybe, yeah, the 2025. So we have here February to this HSE. We have those materials, but we want to ensure that the materials, whatever we are sharing, is up to date, and you are learning the most in-demand skill. That's important. So whatever we had this one in June 2024, we don't have the, for example, Fabric. Earlier it was like an Azure Data Engineer certification. Now we have Microsoft Fabric certification. So we are changing and we are adding. Sorry, some text. Okay. Hope you understand. So 24 hours ahead, definitely yes. And whatever the live class recording is there, right? So in next 1 to 1.5 hours, Vamshi is going to upload on the drive, and he will confirm once the recording is uploaded, saying that, hey guys, today's live class recording uploaded. So that you can watch it and rewatch it, make notes, and rejoin the class again. I mean, you can join the class, tomorrow's class. And this should be our approach on a daily basis. All good? Yeah, same Zoom link for tomorrow also. We are not going to change it. Cool. Thank you very much for your wonderful questions. Hope all of you enjoyed and have a good day, and good night to students from USA. God bless all of you. Bye-bye. Thanks, Vamshi, for your
Thank you,
efforts.
guys.
Appreciate
Thank
it.
you,
Thank
guys.
you.
Yeah.
See you tomorrow. Bye.
Bye.
Thank you. Bye.